Hello, and welcome to a Patreon exclusive episode of Allegedly Astrology. Each episode, we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history.
Before we get started, we have two new patrons to welcome into this podcast sisterhood, I guess. But welcome to Kelly and Kelly. Two Kellys.
Yes, we have a Kelly IE and a Kelly I. So that is amazing. Speaking of, Dana, who are we talking about today?
We're talking about Gwyneth Paltrow, and this was a request from Annalicia. Thank you for requesting.
Is that how you pronounce her name?
I feel like I asked her how to pronounce her name, and it was Annalicia, but maybe I'm having that. Maybe that was a different person.
And Alicia, please DM us and let us know if we pronounced your name right. But if you guys want to be more like Annalicia, you should slide into our DMs with episode requests because she is really good at it and we love her suggestions. So if you too want your name to be mispronounced, hit us up in the DMs. Let's get back to business. Gwyneth Paltrow. If you don't know her, which I'm sure you do, she's an actress and a businesswoman. She's received an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and a Primetime Emmy Award. She's also an author. She's been the face of fashion and perfume brands. She's a philanthropist. Most recently, though, she was in the news for not a jade egg, but a ski trial, which became a pop culture sensation. So let's learn more about her astrology.
Okay, so Gwyneth is a pure Nepo baby, and she is the connects. She's like, honestly, the top tier Nepo baby because her mom is actor Blythe Danner, who was in a ton of movies. Like, you'll see her face, you will know her. And her dad is a film producer and director. His name is Bruce Paltrow. And her godfather is Steven Spielberg, which I just learned.
NBD.
She also is cousins with a few American senators, and she has a younger brother who is a director and a screenwriter. She grew up in Santa Monica and then eventually moved to Manhattan, where she went to a chic all-girls school.
Where'd she go, Spence or Dalton?
I think it was Spence.
Later, she studied art history at University of California before dropping out to act. So, Dana, what is her big three?
Okay, wait. We cannot also forget that she is cousins with Adam Newman's really weird wife, Rebecca Newman, they're the WeWork people.
Oh, yes. I forgot about
Wait,
that.
is Adam Newman that guy?
And her cousin. Adam Newman's the WeWork guy, the crazy WeWork guy. And then his wife, Rebecca Newman, who's also very strange. She is Gwyneth Paltrow's cousin.
I think Gwyneth Paltrow, interviewed her for, a WeWork thing, because that was in the WeWork documentary. Was her being
yes.
my cousin is Gwyneth Paltrow. And then they were like, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow. Tell me about WeWork. One of those weird internal videos.
God, what a favor. What a favor to phone in.
Anyway, Dana,
Right. What are we here for?
Three?
So she was born September 27th, 1972 at 5:25 p.m. in Los Angeles. And she has a Libra sun, a Gemini moon, and a Pisces rising.
Ooh.
Yeah, compelling, right? So she's a Libra sun. And what I thought is interesting, what I immediately saw is that her sun is conjunct Pluto, which so is Hailey Bieber. So there's no way we can say that, it's just two Nepo babies, right? But I'm interested. It makes me interested to check out more and see how Pluto is configured in other.
Oh, I getcha. Also in the 8th house, it's interesting for her because obviously 8th house is inheritance. Yeah.
She's
Nepo.
inherited the power. Pluto inherited goals, I guess, right? She comes from an acting family, an arts family, and she's that.
With that generational wealth.
Yeah. And so the sun in Libra makes total sense for just such an icon. She is beautiful, and Libra's ruled by the sun, and she's just sort of she's everyone's girlfriend, right? I feel like she's my friend. I will never meet her. I feel like a lot of millennial women probably feel similar, and probably a lot of Gen X women too. Maybe even Gen Z. I don't know about y'all. But yeah, she's sort of this fashion icon. Libra's very into, fashion, art. She's into her look. She's known for how she looks, which is very much a Libra thing, even though she's also a known artist, which is also very Libra too, right? She's sort of this just an enigmatic person, which the sun is in fall in Libra. And so I feel like whenever a planet's in fall and detriment, there's a little bit of an enigma there. There's sort of this draw and this push and pull, right? And she's also very polarizing. Libra is a sign of symmetry, just like Gemini. They're both split in two scales of justice. And so people always have an opinion about her, right? Like right before everyone was on her side about the ski trial, everyone was like, she doesn't eat. And it was like, yeah, no shit. Like, where were you in 2004 when she was talking about her cleanse, you morons?
Honestly, that ski trial really did wonders for her reputation.
Right? Which again is Libra. So getting someone on your side with a trial, very on point. And then she's this Gemini moon, which once again, no wonder her face is so symmetrical. But her moon is conjunct Saturn in Gemini. I love Saturn in Gemini. I think it's so smart. This is like an intellectualizing emotion. It's also in her fourth house. This is her attachment to her father, her Saturn. Her father might have taught her to be like really discerning, which is very much having the moon conjunct Saturn in Gemini. And like maybe she intellectualizes emotion, especially with Libra sun, Gemini moon. There's a lot of air here. She's about connecting with other people, which is very much what Goop is about. Once again, I'm a Goop head, I guess. And so, yeah, this speaks a lot to her, like, ability to sort of connect with her, surroundings. And then she has this Pisces rising, which is she's the victim. People won't stop putting her through the ringer for, having an eating disorder. And it's ruled by Jupiter at 0 degrees Capricorn. Jupiter is in fall in Capricorn, but it's in her 11th house, which is its favorite house to be in, and it's with her north node. So there's this like really strong pull of like power and goodwill there from like the structures that be, which is Capricorn. I think, Sarah, before we did this, you like noted how her Jupiter in Capricorn is like, how she's like able to like curry favor so much with both the public as well as like powerful people.
Yeah.
And Saturn stationed retrograde 4 days after she was born. So her Saturn's pretty still in her chart. And that's also ruling that Jupiter in Capricorn. So there's like this, she's a hard worker. She got, like, I didn't know she was a Nepo baby, or I didn't know that she had famous parents until, long after. I mean, I was a child for like the beginning of her career. So I wasn't, and Google didn't exist because I'm ancient. But yeah, she, did you guys know that she was?
I did. Because my mom loves pointing out those things to me.
Oh, God
Did
bless
you
Arlene.
know her mom, blah, blah, blah? Yeah, my mom loves that. Loves pointing that out to me.
I love Arlene. She also has Mars in Virgo, which is very much like militant health.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that her Mercury, which rules her moon, exactly trines her moon.
Oh. I think it's interesting that her 10th house is in Sag, and then Jupiter is in Capricorn in the 11th. So again, it's like her career is like coming from this like network of luck and like powerful connections.
Yeah, I love that.
And also it's interesting to me that her Venus is in Leo in the 6th house, because again, I feel like Goop is very much like being healthy for beauty reasons. Maybe I interpreted it wrong. If it's Goop heads, do not come at me, but
I mean, I agree.
That's how I feel.
I think it seems obvious to me, at least.
Gwyneth knew from a young age that she wanted to act, and she appeared in her first part, a stage walk-on role, at age 5. She got a lot of roles because of her family and would be in a lot of the films that her dad directed, but her first big role was when her godfather, aka Steven Spielberg, cast her in Hook as young Wendy.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, I didn't even know that.
The first movie I ever saw in a theater. It was my first crush.
Yeah, I knew that. So Gwen, despite like having all these connections, she did not suck at acting. She was described as a scene stealer. The New York Times said, quote, Blythe Danner's daughter has her mother's way of making a camera fall in love with her. So, people liked her.
People liked her indeed, and she was getting a lot of roles, but her biggest notoriety came for her role in Seven. And in Seven, she plays the wife of a detective played by Brad Pitt, who's tasked with finding a serial killer who uses the 7 deadly sins as tropes in his murders. Wait, I really want to see that movie. Have you guys seen that movie?
So
yes,
good.
I watched it last year.
Seven.
It will fuck you up. You got to see it.
It's so
Ooh,
good.
I
I've
really
watched it
watch
so many
movie.
times.
Wow,
Ugh.
okay.
So good.
Must watch.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Stop. No spoilers. Anyway, the film was a huge success, and she was nominated for an award for Best Supporting Actress. So what was going on when Seven was released?
It was released on September 22nd, 1995, and Mercury stationed retrograde in Libra 9 hours prior. And so her natal Mercury is there. This is her Mercury return. This is a big, deal. It's a big parallel in her own chart. Also, the new moon was in Libra the following day, which was followed by a lunar eclipse in Aries. So we're getting into these eclipses, which are on this major axis for her, right? She has a Libra stellium in her 8th house. So maybe she got this role from someone she knew. Maybe it was inherited, but it's all still, earned. Also, Uranus is in Capricorn, exactly square the nodes in Libra and Aries on this day. So Uranus is at 26 degrees. Their nodes are at 26 degrees Libra and Aries. And so this is sort of like a big shocking change, right? This movie is pretty fucked up. So this is also could sort of speak to that sort of disturbance. Like Uranus is a lot about disturbance. And so could speak to the disturbing, nature of the film. The North Node is in Libra. So this is, again, sort of like putting her in the spotlight, especially since the North Node is all about increase and her sun is in Libra. So that's, the spotlight. There are also many planets in domicile. So Venus is in Libra, Mars is in Scorpio, and Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So these are all sort of like working in a way that like you hope they work, right? Venus in Libra is like there's some harmony here. Mars in Scorpio is the depth of the film. Jupiter in Sagittarius is like breeding goodwill for, maybe good publicity. The sun was also conjunct her natal Mars in Virgo on that day. And so that's especially with the public, since the 7th house is the house of major partnerships, usually marriage, but also contracts. It's sort of like speaking to that. And the moon crossed her descendant that day too. So this is maybe either shining a light on like how she's being received by others and also her own natural power, right? She does have this Mars in Virgo, which is hardworking and like able to sort of like stick her nose to the grindstone. I don't know. That sounds crazy. But especially I think with that Mercury stationing retrograde there in her 8th house, where she has this natal Libra stellium, I think that's like bringing attention to her in the long run.
After 7, she was in the film Emma, and people were obsessed with her in Emma. They thought she did a great job. Someone said, Gwyneth Paltrow shines brightly as Jane Austen's most endearing character, the disastrously self-assured matchmaker Emma Woodhouse. So, it seems like a role that if she fucked it up, everybody would be the first to say she sucked, but she did not. And then she took on leading roles in 5 high-profile film releases in a single year. Great Expectations,
Whoa.
which honestly, I remember watching that movie as a child. It was sexually charged. Ethan Hawke is in it.
I've never seen it.
And then she was in Sliding Doors, a movie called Hush, A Perfect Murder, which if I remember that, she stabbed someone in the neck with like a meat temperature thing. And then Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, Shakespeare in Love. Obviously, that was amazing. That's the only one that I've seen on the list that Sarah just mentioned. But Shakespeare in Love was a really big deal for her. It was a really big deal in general. She played the fictional lover of William Shakespeare. Everyone was obsessed. She won an Oscar for it. And if you remember or you've seen, the dress she wore to the Academy Awards was this beautiful pink dress. It was extremely popular. People credit it for bringing pink back into fashion. It would honestly be one of the most iconic moments of all Oscars if she didn't thank Harvey Weinstein in her acceptance speech. But this was the 90s. People didn't know yet.
Damn. Also, that's so Libra to be like known for like the dress you wear.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
had to
God,
be pink.
totally. But I think about that dress all the time. I think about that dress often. Like, I'm not a pink person, but I love that dress.
I've never seen Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
I just don't
good.
like period pieces. I'm not really into them, but maybe I'll try. But anyways, 1998 was a turning point in her career, and she became an A-list actor. So what was going on for her this year, Dana?
So I did the charts for 1997 and 1998 since, 1997, her solar return and progressions will cover, that year. So 1997 is a second house Aries year. So it makes total sense that she's lining her pockets this year. The second house has so much to do with your salary and like building up wealth. So even though she already has wealth from the 8th house, especially that Libra stellium, now she's making her own money. And that's pretty significant. Also, Saturn was an Aries conjunct her progressed ascendant. So this is your progressed ascendant, it's sort of like your ascendant, but it shows like this evolution through time. So her natal ascendant's in Pisces, her progressed ascendant in Aries, especially in her second house. She's, and with Saturn there, it's like, all right, you're taking on too much maybe, but you're doing it to earn money and also build a reputation for yourself. Pluto was conjunct her natal Neptune in Sagittarius. So the 10th house is Sagittarius for her. The 10th house is all about your reputation, your career, and Pluto's a planet of power. Neptune's also really related to fame. So having Neptune in your 10th house in general can maybe speak to having some sort of fame in your life, right? And so this is pretty major, especially in Sagittarius too, which is so like I don't know, like we just know, I know her as like being like, she's so cool, she's so fun. Like even though she's like the most healthy or whatever, she also was like, I don't wear sunscreen and I smoke 1 cigarette a week. You know what I mean? It was still sort of like this weird offbeat kind of thing. So yeah, clearly
I feel like there's like a lot
her.
of photos of her like smoking cigarettes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so many from the 90s. I just recently saw one, someone tweeted like, look how dirty her shoes were, and then like, you know, everyone was like, cool, we all have dirty white shoes like Gwyneth Paltrow had in 1998. Pretty significant. The North Node was also transiting her 7th, so this could speak to like signing a lot of contracts. And the moon in her solar return chart was in Leo on her natal Venus in the 6th house. So the moon transiting her natal 6th house in your solar return chart, that could really be like, you know, she's going to work a lot this year. And with Venus there, it's maybe softening it. Maybe she's, you know, she's being well received. Venus is all about harmony and connecting with others. And then also in her, so Mars being her time lord, Mars is at 29 degrees Scorpio in her 9th house at her solar return. And so this is like the anaretic degree, the most potent degree of Scorpio. So it's really like packing in, like, you know, I'm going to get a lot of work done and it's going to be like good. It's going to be, you know, some good deep work. And then in her 1988 chart, she's in a 3rd house year, Taurus year. And so Venus was her time lord since Venus rules Taurus. And once again, Saturn had ingressed to Taurus at this time. So Saturn being in your progress, or you're in your perfected house or your perfected sign, especially at your solar return, could mean that you're going to be working really hard that year. You might lose something. You might gain something through hard work. Like it's going to be maybe a year that's, you know, battles are not, it doesn't have to be battle, but it could be like one where you're really sort of putting work in. And her progressed moon's also in Taurus. So this is sort of like really a focal point. And in Taurus, the 3rd house is all about, the 3rd house includes like special skills and talents. And so Taurus is such like an artist. I feel like this is also, Taurus also has boundaries. So it's maybe this is like when she was, you know, this is like a kind of a reach, but you know, maybe she was like having really good, especially with Saturn there too. Like she's able to really perfect her craft, hard work with Saturn, but also like have boundaries around it so that she doesn't have to be like some, I don't know, something that she doesn't want to be. And so, yeah, okay, so Venus was in Taurus, conjunct her natal, or Venus was in Virgo, conjunct her natal Mars in her solar return chart. And so Venus being her time lord, that's really significant. And Venus on her Mars is also sort of enhancing that, like, this is the 2nd year in a row Mars is activated for her. Like, she's really working hard, right? She's putting in work. And with her natal Venus in Leo in the 6th, that's also sort of underscoring that work. The 6th house is all about what you do work with every day. So, yeah, Mars and she has this dual activation that I sometimes talk about. Her solar return Mars is in Leo, where her natal Venus is. Her solar return Venus is in Virgo, where her natal Mars is. So there's this Venus-Mars. She's beautiful Venus. Mars is putting in work. It kind of makes sense to me. Also, the moon was in Sagittarius in her solar return chart, highlighting her career.
Love that for her.
Dang.
So after Shakespeare in Love, she was considered for the role of Rose in Titanic, which I love that little fact. Yes.
I did not know that. Whoa,
She
that would have been